26th. I'm Bruce Leonard, of course, and thank you for tuning in to another hour of Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. Still legal today. We are bombing Iran. It's a war. It's not a war. It's still it's possibly a military action. Now they're calling it. I don't know what that's all about. I still haven't been able to figure out like exactly what this is because all I know is that they don't have a fucking plan or a clue what's going on. Now he says he's going to wait 10 days before he destroys their energy infrastructure, or whatever that he was threatening to do a week ago. Now it's been almost 2 weeks that he said they had 4 days to, it's like Trump never sticks to anything he says, which is exactly why, like I've been saying, why would you make a deal with this guy? Why would you make any kind of deal with Donald Trump when you know that Donald Trump will just go back on the deal whenever he feels it's convenience? Or he's like Darth Vader. Remember when Darth Vader made that deal with Lando Calrissian? Hey Laura, Darth Vader made that deal with Lando Calrissian, right? That he just wanted Han Solo and that was it. To try to lure Luke Skywalker to the place. But then he started taking over the city and he was like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't part. He's like, all right, I'll leave a garrison here. And he's like, hey, wait, that wasn't part of the deal. He's like, I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further. Like that's Donald Trump in a nutshell. So why would you make a deal with somebody that you know is not going to stick to his word, no matter what he says? That's like, what do you think of Donald Trump signed some piece of paper that all of a sudden he's going to abide by that? Hey, what's up, Teddy? No. So that's where you're at, and you can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. And when the Iranians themselves could possibly be more credible than the President of the United States, it's not a good situation. It's like, you can't believe what he says. He says the war's over, but yet they're sending troops. He said there's not going to be any ground troops, but there's 3,000 or 4,000 troops gathering right now, right there. Well, they're not there yet. They still have to. Here's the thing: they still have to sail through the Strait of Hormuz, boats full of troops. The Iranians could attack them. Could try to sink those boats out in the Persian Gulf, and then you have a lot of dead. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm saying, Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing, and now he keeps saying they're gonna take that Karg Island. Well, they've been saying this now for a month. So the Iranians, of course, have mined the island and set it all up, put RPGs there and all kinds of fucking shit. And I don't know if you know anything about the topography of Iran, but it's a fortress, basically, surrounded by mountains. There's no easy way to just walk in there without them, you got to go through passes and shit. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with the Battle of Thermopylae, right? Or well, maybe if you aren't, you maybe saw the movie 300. That's what the movie 300 was based on, the Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Greeks held off 100,000 Persian army for 3 days, 4 days, way longer than they should have, because it was a mountain pass. You can only go to the mountain through this one pass. So the Iranians, that's what they're going to do to us. Whatever passes they have to go through, they already have this covered. You don't think that they've planned for this? That's the thing that I think is funny. That no one seems to consider the fact that perhaps they knew that this would happen. Or, they planned for the contingency. Unlike the Trump administration, which hasn't planned for anything. They just thought they could drop a few bombs and it'd be the end of the story. They have this myth in their head of American military power. You know that if you drop enough bombs on them, the difference between the Israelis and the Americans are the Israelis always sending boots. You know that, like they send troops on the ground, like they're in Lebanon right now. What's up, Julia? So Israel doesn't just bomb a place and hope that things change. Like they bomb a place and then they send in boots on the ground. You know, and that's what you're going to have to do to Iran if you want to get rid of this regime. Is you're going to have to send people in there. And when people go in there, it's going to be ugly. Rotten Roy, hello. Thanks for tuning in. What do you think? They seem to think it'll be easy, and I don't think it'll be that easy. Like I said, Iran is like a fortress. Iran is like, yeah, Iran it really is. It makes me really think the more I look at I'm in the United States, Rotten Roy. It makes me look like, or when you look at it, it makes you think Iran must have been the inspiration for Mordor in Tolkien, because it's built the same way with mountains all around. Hey, Blue Pilot, what's up? Well, you're back, so it's doing okay. I don't know. I just turn it on and do the show. Like I said, I consistently have way more viewers than I ever had when I first started, so it's going okay. I mean, I don't have any complaints. I mean, I wish it was going better, but I can't complain about how it's going because it's going all right. And if you like this show, tell your friends, please. That's all we need is more people. And if you have an opinion, I said chime in, because I'm interested to hear it, because, like I said, I don't see any good options here at all. And the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. They gave a 15-point plan that was basically total capitulation and surrender, and basically the Iranians just tore it up and threw it off. You know. Thank you, Laura. The Iranians just tore it up and threw it away. So there's really no progress going on. And then they killed the leader of the Revolutionary Guard Navy. And my question is this too: if you just keep killing everybody, and they go, "No, this guy's in charge, and that guy's in charge," and the people just start to kill. Nyan says, "You need to check your taxes, sir." Why you think I'm cheating? Blue Power says, "Hell yeah, I was doom scrolling the YouTube lives. I was watching some Israeli and Israel, bro. Had missile interceptors going off in the background." Yes. Yeah, but Donald Trump said they're completely destroyed, didn't he? Militarily. But somehow they still keep managing to shoot off these missiles, drones. They still keep attacking shit. Like, they don't seem to be, you know, I mean, yeah, they're limited, of course, because they've been bombed to shit, but it's not gone. This is my question is, like I said, you don't think that they plan for this contingency? Because unlike Donald Trump, these are serious people. They plan for every contingency. You don't think that they didn't think that Iran or that America and Israel might attack them? You don't think that they had a plan? Yes, Blue Apollo said their missiles are so cheap and interceptors are so expensive. Yes. A lot of times these drones. So you're talking about $5 million to shoot a missile at a $20,000 drone. That's not economically feasible for a long time, is it? You know, not to mention you're using your stockpiles of interceptors, and you can't produce them, you know, as fast as they can produce these $20,000 drones. So theoretically, they could just keep swarming drones constantly until they exhaust the supplies of, you know, Golden Dome Patriot missiles or whatever it is that they have. And then they'd be completely vulnerable. You know, I mean, if I was them, that's what I would do. And, you know, I'm not a military general or a commander or anything, but, I mean, it doesn't seem very... What's up, Hassan? I think you've been here before. Thanks for coming back. It's good to see you. Like I said, I'm not a military commander or anything, but it seems to me like that's the move. And then you know that they have fortified all their positions inside of Iran for when he does put boots on the ground or feels like he's going to. Blue Apollo says they have expandable resources. It reminds me of Rambo 3 when he goes to the Middle East and finds out about the indomitable Middle Eastern spirit. Yes, exactly. Like we found out in Vietnam about the indomitable Asian spirit. That's my point. Even if they send troops into Iran, do you think for 1 second that people are going to be like, oh yeah, this is cool? I mean, maybe if you could manage to kill, the regime, all the regime people, and get rid of them, perhaps the people there might say, "Oh, hey, Siddharth, what's the topic now? We're talking about Iran and what's going on there and all the possibilities that can happen." But I don't think that Donald Trump realizes, like I said, that. I think that's what they want. They want you to send American troops in there so they can kill as many as they can. And as soon as that happens, it's one disaster. Let's say they go to Carg Island and let's say they manage to get it. I have not been on Kill Tony, my friend. Like I said, I used to tour all over the United States. I've never been on Kill Tony. I was the only big podcast I've been on was I've been on Daniele Bellelli's Drunken Taoist podcast, and of course he comes here on Saturdays. But I haven't been on big television or anything like that. I've just been a touring. I don't have any religion, Lorcan. Lorcan Doherty says, "What religion are you?" I'm none. I don't affiliate with those religious people. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but that crazy guy who's Pete Hegseth's pastor, he was praying for James Tallarico to die. These are Christians. Not Laws says, if America could find a way to power cars off of Trump's diapers, that we could all have free energy. Exactly, right? I still, every time I see Donald Trump, I still can't be like, why Lorcan Doherty? Why do you ask me what my religion is? I'm curious. Does that matter to you? Like my opinions are only valid if I'm the correct religion? What religion are you? A Protestant. Oh, fuck you, man. I'm a Catholic. That's exactly why I'm not religious. Our religion does divide people. Like, so we're going through this shit now. And now there's all these fucking assholes in Congress that are going after Muslim people. We gotta get rid of all the Muslims. They want Sharia law everywhere. Like this guy said today, they want to replace the Constitution with the Quran. And you're like, and the guy was like 80 years old. And it goes back to another point that I make on this show all the time, is that we're stuck in the past. Dom King Kanoha says, I need help. Maybe I do. Why would you say that? Blue Apollo says, I see him and just see complete betrayal. It sucks, but at least I admit I was a plain sucker. Sucks that he lies so much. Yes! He lies constantly. I said he lies so much that you can't believe anything that they're telling you. Your own government. It's like living in, like I said, it's people laugh when you say it, but it's true. It's like living in North Korea or some shit. Where like the guy just says anything. Like, did you see North Korea? They said, it just happened the other day. They said Kim Jong-un was reelected by 99.8% margin. Like, who's the other 0.1% 0.2 people. Oh, they shot them. It's like, it was 0.2% of the population that was against Kim Jong Un, and they're no longer with us. That's like, that's not even like 99.8%. Amen. Lorcan says, as a Catholic, the Protestant remark got a bit of a chuckle out of me. Well, I'm familiar with history. Lorcan, to answer your question, religion doesn't matter to me. Good. Good. That's the way it should be. Religion is what's keeping us from evolving to the next age of man, if you ask me. Keep holding on to these traditions, these antiquated traditions and ideas that are no longer relevant, you know. And the invisible man's not coming back. I was with my dad yesterday, went to the Lakers game, and we were talking, and I said the same thing. I was like, you know what, I kind of wish, like, let them do what they want. Let them destroy that mosque and build that Temple Mount on Jerusalem, where they think that that's going to bring Jesus back, and then when he doesn't come back, now what? They still wouldn't admit they were wrong. I guarantee it. They still wouldn't. Blue Power says, Xi Jinping has people that feed him fake headlines. These world leaders are insane. Yes, this is like Trump. You didn't hear the thing about Trump? He gets up in the morning and they show him those clips of bombs going off. They go, here's your morning briefing about the war. And then they, no, it's just gray hair and fluorescent lighting. It's not green tinted. But he gets up in the morning and they go, here's your briefing on the war, sir. And it's just like a montage of missiles hitting shit and bombs going off and stuff blowing up. And he goes, oh yeah, we're doing great. He doesn't have like maps and maybe a book about the history of Iran. That's like all the countries that have tried to get in there. Siddharth says, Mr. Donald Trump is politicians. Moreover, he is an entrepreneur and a businessman. He's a scam artist, bro. He's a liar and a fucking cheat. Thief. Murderer. They just blew up another boat in the Caribbean. I guess that hasn't been happening for a while. I guess they were like, hey, you know what? They say they blew up this place in Ecuador. You might remember this, right? This is like three or 4 weeks ago. Right? It flew under the radar kind of because all the other shit that's going on. But they said, we hit a drug facility in Ecuador. With first strike against the narco-terrorists, they said, right? Turns out it was a dairy farm. I swear to God. Just a guy's dairy farm. He blew up his farm and all his cows. And then they sold it off that they had attacked some cartel somehow. These are the dumbest people on the face of the earth. That's the thing that you really have to understand. That if you go online and you start looking at the mega people, the mega groups, the mega posts, man, that's hard, Kenneth. Kenneth's asking the tough questions today. He says, who do I think is better, Prince, David Bowie, or Bruce Springsteen? Man, I'd have to break that down to like categories, I think. It's like, as far as a songwriter and a storyteller and a master, wordsmith and all that shit, you'd have to go with Bruce probably. Right? As far as musicians, you have to go with Prince because he played all the instruments and wrote all the music himself. And David Bowie's just great. It's a great personality, whatever. I don't think you can say who's better or worse because they're all different styles too. That's the thing about comics and shit like that. Like some comedy's not the same as others. Like people do music comedy. Blue Apollo says every movie's made in the media since his first term are all for Wall Street. He says stuff people buy in and out, buy out, but all of his billionaire buddies knows what's going on. It's so fucked. Yeah, have you seen this shit that people predicting betting on the prediction markets about what he will and won't do. Somebody's making a lot of money off these bets. You know. Because, come on, if you're betting on the prediction market of what you predict Donald Trump is going to do, and you're correct, you got fucking inside information. Because there's no way to... Julia says yes, and they're simultaneously torturing Cubans by preventing them from receiving energy. Yes, and I talked about that in the last episode, is no one's talking about what's going on in Cuba. Those people are just suffering in silence, and no one gives a shit. You know, there's no power in the island. I said that on the last episode. All the people that were hooked to ventilators and life support machines that are in the hospitals in Cuba are dead now, because Donald Trump killed them. This is what I think is funny about Christians, is they don't seem to mind murder if it suits them politically. All those commandments are, pretty much, play it by ear, It's like, depending on the opportunities that arise, I might break a few of these commandments, might not kill, well, maybe I will. It's like, thou shalt not steal. Yeah, well, there's a lot of money here to be had. That's like, we're Christians. And I was saying it before, and it's true. The guy who's Pete Hegseth's pastor, the guy that he brought to the Pentagon to preach to troops, was praying for James Tallarico to die. He's asking God to kill a man. I'm not even making this up. It's unbelievable. And they call themselves Christians. Like, the Christianity that they practice is so far removed from what I am used to. When I grew up in churches, the churches didn't talk politics. All these political churches have sprung up in the last 20 years or 25 years. I stopped going to churches a long time ago, but I certainly wouldn't go. Well, the question itself is a trick question, my friend. He says, Ivanacon3706 says, Grandpa, how do you know a woman's gender? It's like, well, you just called her a woman. So obviously, she's a woman. Now, if you just said, look at that guy, I'm sorry, that guy, you just say, look at that person over there. How can you tell the gender? Be a more appropriate question than saying, look at that woman over there. What do you think her gender is? Like, well, it's a woman. Obviously, you just said it yourself. Blue Apollo says, that's all Marco Rubio wants. He wants Cuba so bad. Yes. Yes, he does. Here's my question. What makes anyone think that another country has the right to just starve out a sovereign country until they give in to the demands of they let them pick their government for them or whatever? I don't know what their demands are. Really. I think the funniest thing that could happen is if they told Cuba, all right, you're going to be a democracy now, so you're going to have an election. And then they just voted back in the regime that they kicked out. Well, we're going with the Castro regime. That would be the funniest thing ever. The problem is this playbook that they're running is wacky as fuck. Julia says it's not the 10 Commandments, it's the 10 suggestions. That's kind of like how stop signs are mere suggestions nowadays. I love 3H says, don't be attached to politics. They make you sad. Deaths are sad and you need to live your life happy. That's true. But at the same time, we're living in a time, like I said, we're living in historic times. Like the world is changing rapidly and fast. And these people have the heads up on us. And if we don't wake up and realize this, we're going to be slaves in an AI-driven, dominated, dystopian nightmare world. And I hope that you know this. That these billionaires, that's what they want. Wisdom says, I've checked the market value of your life's work, and honestly, I think I'm overpaying if I give you a cent. Well, you don't really know my life's work, do you? I've done a lot of other stuff. I've been doing stuff my whole life. I was a musician before I became a comedian. And then I only started doing this last year. Out of necessity. Blue Apollo says, I'm okay with us taking action in our hemisphere, but not regime change. We can fund this war, but can't stop cartels and make Mexico safer. You may not care about politics, but politics cares about you. Nick Fuentes. Well, that's one thing, like I said before. I'm sure if I had listened to Nick Fuentes enough, what you told me to listen to him, there would be things that I would agree with him on, because I said, I'm not a card cookie cutter, whatever people think of leftist people. You know, it's like, I'm more, like I said, I'm more of a humanist. And humanism tends to be more left wing, because right wing politics are generally for fucking assholes. Like the fact that people think that we can't afford to give people health care, but yet we can still afford to subsidize Israel, to bomb Iran, to fucking, to invade Venezuela, to blockade Cuba. It's like, all this stuff costs a lot of money. Donald Trump's just running up a deficit. But at the same time, he's taking away things that help people. And the fact that people would take that. Like I said, if this was France, the country would already be shut down and shit would be on fire. They wouldn't take any of this. The people themselves. They'd be out in the street. Americans are apathetic, lazy, brainwashed. And if you watch these stuff that's going on, yes, Crash Country, this month was crazy. Yes, it's been a crazy month. The world's off the chain. That's what's funny is Trump actually had the gas price down, and like the one thing he had going for him, he fucked that up too. Because he's an idiot. Yes, Crash, the current affairs we have to follow is heavy. It is. It is. They just raised up, I don't know if you saw this, they just raised up the age of you can join the military. You could be 40 years old now and join the military. But it's like what Martin Luther King said. It's like, evil men rule when good people do nothing. So it's easy to say what he said and say, you need to stay off the politics because it's bad and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but that ain't stopping the world from coming down on you. Blue Apollo, but that's what makes America different. Blue Apollo says, I agree, I love seeing other countries so patriotic waving their flags. You look at rallies in America, it's every other country's flag. But that's the point. That's the point you guys miss. Is the idea of America is anyone can come here and make a life for themselves. It's about freedom and opportunity. What you're doing is going against the very ideas that, and these are ideas that conservatives in my life used to cherish and uphold it. Small government and all that shit. You guys, because conservatism, the right wing in this country has been taken over by fascists. Christian fascists that want to establish a Christian theocracy. This guy was on the radio last night, I swear to God. I was driving home from my dad's, and I turned on the talk radio, because late night talk radio in the Midwest, holy shit. If you never listened to it, you should turn it on one day. If you're driving through the Midwest, this AM radio, just turn on your AM and flip around. You'll find a guy talking. And the dumbest people in the world have radio shows. This guy last night was bitching about how judges have stopped Donald Trump. And he's like, can't interfere with the executive branch, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, that's the point of the Constitution. That's why there's 3 different branches of government. Yes, the judicial branch most definitely has authority to interfere with the executive branch if the executive branch is getting out of order. out of line and doing illegal and unconstitutional shit. That's what protects your freedom. But see, these nutlickers think that they want to have a king. Donald Trump should be king. He should be able to just declare something and you should do it. It's like Blue Apollo says Grandpa was a Rush Limbaugh junkie. Yeah, he was. He was the beginning. Rush was the very beginning of the road. No, you spot it right. The pill junkie. Rush Limbaugh's a perfect example of conservatism, right? For years and years he railed about drugs and drug laws and all that shit. Come to find out, he was sitting there fucking high shit on Oxycontins that he bought in a gas station parking lot with a cigar box full of money. The reality, he should have been sent to prison and been subject to the mandatory fucking drug laws that he fucking advocated on his show. They're hypocrites, all these fucking people. It's just like the pedophile thing. They say everybody's a pedophile, but then every time you turn around, it's one of these people getting caught for being a pedophile. He was a registered Republican. Oh, shocker. That's like... Why does it seem like everything that they do like protects pedophiles and sex offenders? There was a story the other day where the judge got mad because the Justice Department... Ooh, Peter, that's a tough question. Peter the Pig says, would you rather shit a brick or piss a golf ball? That's not good options. How big is this brick? Full size? Cinder block? I must know the size of the brick. I mean, I know how big a golf ball is. And Ken says it's kind of funny you don't hear about Greenland anymore. Yo, did you hear that? It was true. NATO was organizing to protect Greenland from Trump. This is true. They had a plan in place to blow up all the landing strips so that they couldn't just land planes at the Greenland thing. Blue Apollo says, I'm shitting a brick. Fuck that golf ball. Laura says he hates his ass being bothered. Which is true. Not into ass shit. On me, anyway. So, but I'm with Blue Apollo. Like, that golf ball sounds, you know. I guess, yeah. I have to have more information. Like, is this going to affect my sex life in the future if I if I piss out a golf ball? Because if it is, Switchblade 970 says, "Am I afraid of Israel? What do you mean? Am I afraid of him? I'm afraid that they're off the chain. I'm afraid that, I'm not afraid of Israel, like, oh, am I afraid of them? Or like, are they our enemies or something? Like, no. But I am afraid that they can't control them. That Netanyahu is out of control, and now he's got this power vision that he thinks that he can, to kill everyone in the Middle East that doesn't like Israel and make everyone like them somehow. And I don't believe that that's the case. I believe he's making things worse. I believe when Trump pulls out of this Iran thing, I believe that they'll keep going. But they'll keep bombing. Israel doesn't have enough troops to invade Iran. That's the thing, is Iran is a big country. We got a 1 million-man army. It's a lot of people. And I don't know if you know anything about Iran, but in the Iran-Iraq war, Saddam had better weapons than them, but they had dudes. They just send waves of dudes. They just had so many people who would just walk into death. They just pushed them back. It became a stalemate because you couldn't kill enough of them. And as soon as you killed a bunch of them, more came up. Saying yeah. He's hitting on me. I have a girlfriend. I'm sorry. She's here in the chat. She's watching. So she just saw you. Although I do appreciate the occasional person that comes on here finds me attractive. That's thing. The fact that anyone find you attractive at this age means you're doing okay, I think. Blue Apollo says 93 million population versus Israel, size of New Jersey. That's my point. That's why Netanyahu needs us to do the dirty work for him. Because he doesn't have enough army to go in there. He said, as good as the Israeli army is, same thing. It's a fortress situation, and they can't take a bunch of casualties. They already draft their people into military service. They're already Israel, so it's not like they have mass amounts of more reserves they could call up. It's like they have limited amount of troops. Iran has way more. I'm not sure of the size of the Israeli army. Let's look it up. I haven't really thought about it until just now. Let's see. The Israeli military consists of approximately 169,500 to 170,000 active duty personnel, with roughly 465,000 reservists. So they do have a lot. It is considered a top 15 global military power. That is true. But Iran has twice that many. They got a 1 million man army. So, Kamaga says, I'm not doing shit for Israel, Yehud. We were talking about this before. You don't have to be against Israel itself or Jewish people to criticize the Israeli government. It's just like if you're an American, you criticize the American government. It doesn't mean that you're anti-American. I mean, that's what they'll say. But that's not true. If you live in a free society, a real free society, you have the freedom to disagree. See, that's the other part of the hypocritical positions that these people take, is they think that we have to just go along blindly with whatever the U.S. government does, and that's not true. Have you seen the horrible things that have happened when people just allow the U.S. government to do whatever it wants? Kamaga says they should have thought about that before they tried to become a regional power. Yes. Julia says Iran also has non-state groups who fought alongside their troops. Yes. Like the Houthis. No, Hezbollah. It's very complicated. Way more complicated than Donald Trump can comprehend, apparently. Or Pete Hegseth or any of these fucking guys. The other part is you have to really get that they say that Iran is run by religious fanatics, but that's exactly what these people are. Maybe not Trump, but Hegseth is. Hegseth is a true believer. He believes that God is on his side. And that's true. He says it all the time. He led a prayer service. I don't know if you saw that. He was praying for violence against his enemies. And it's the same thing. You're praying for violence, like the other guy, praying for a death of a guy he doesn't agree with. Like, these are supposed to be Christians. If you're a real Christian, this stuff just turn your stomach and make you sick. What kind of Christian is praying for violence and death on other people? Apparently you never read the Bible, because that ain't what it says. Unless you throw out the whole Jesus part. But why would you want Jesus to come back? Jesus come back and look at them and go, are you fucking kidding me? That's what you got out of this? I believe you might be mistaken in your... It's unbelievable. Blue Apollo says, our problem over here is these billionaire Zionists in power. Netanyahu calls this an 8-front war, the 8th front being American support and media. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Mars is right, nothing new under the sun, but that's my point. That all these religions and all these antiquated ideas and traditions that we hold on to They're not relevant anymore. And all they've ever done is cause division, death, misery, hate. You know. But for some reason, man as a species loves to hold on to traditions and do the same shit over and over and over. It's like a mental illness. And like, if you look at the stuff that they say, it's the same shit. Communism, this, and Muslims, it's all the same boogeyman, you know. They don't use George Soros too much anymore because since George Soros is about 110 now, and he probably can't do anything except lay in a bed and shit himself. But remember when George Soros used to be the source of all evil in this world? Hey, Internet, not a Jew. Still. It's like all you guys are the same. Y'all just come on here. You're Jewish? Yes. Although we made it 40 minutes before somebody said it today. That's good. It's progress. Usually it starts in the first 5 minutes. If it's rapid succession of people coming on here like, hey, is this guy Jewish? Are you a Jew? It's like, no, not a fucking Jew. It's like, so I was going to talk about it's the opening day of baseball season, and that, like the guy said earlier, is true. You can't stay wrapped up in all this stuff constantly 24 hours a day. So if you like, the Internet 8853 says, that's what a Jew would say, though. No, if I was a Jew, I promise I'd tell you. I'd have my little hat on. Like Randy Fine. No, Blue Apollo. People say that to me so much that my girlfriend made me this sign that I can hold up. Well, sometimes people are talking, and like when I have Daniele on, I don't read the comments because I'm talking with Daniele Bolelli, so I don't want to get sidetracked with and people come on. Oh, you're a Jew. So I had to hold up this little sign. It's like, not a Jew. Which I'm not. And I said, if I was, I would tell you. I wouldn't be ashamed of it. It's like, I'm just not. Like I said before, my mom's fucking Irish. That's it. I'm not aware. Are there Irish Jews? That's like, I've never seen any. I mean, I'm sure there are. That's the thing that's funny too. Is Jewish is not really a race. Jewish only became a racial construct when Germans decided that it was a racial construct being a Jew. So there's Jews from all over the world, all different kinds. It's Austrian Jews and Hungarian Jews and Polish Jews and German Jews and Blue Apollo says, am I atheist, possibly raised Irish Catholic? No. Am I an atheist? Yes, for the most part. Kaka Dumbbell says, I don't know where, but I've seen you somewhere, right? Maybe. I've been around. And I was not raised Irish Catholic. My family in Kentucky were Baptists. So I was raised mostly in Baptist church. But then as I got older, I got curious about the different kinds. So I started going myself to different services. I would go to Pentecostal services and Protestant services, went to Catholic Mass, went to... no, Ken, it's never going to stop. Julia says she's an agnostic Jew. And yes, Bruce, there are Irish Jews. Have some in my family. No, that's what I mean. Being a Jew is not a racial thing. So you have a race and then you're a Jew. Or a nationality or whatever. And even nationalities aren't races. Race is a bullshit construct. It's not real. Biology tells us this. But people need a way to categorize themselves and get into little groups. So, Blue Apollo says you have to have a Jewish mother to get Israeli citizenship. Being a Jew is different than practicing Judaism. Blue Apollo says, I feel they are a race. They don't consider themselves white like a European would. Yeah, but it's the internet says hunch over and rub your hands. I want to check. It's like, what, dude, Mr. Burns? Like, it's like, Julia says, correct, Blue Apollo. I'm Jewish on my mom's side, but I do not practice Judaism. Right? But whether you do or not, that's not. They don't care, do they? The people that hate Jews. Like, you can be like, I don't practice it. I don't care. You're a fucking dirty Jew. You know, like, Hitler didn't care you practiced or not. If you were genetically tied to another Jew, you're a fucking Jew, you know, to them, and that's all they cared. It's all off the rails and off the chain. It's all ridiculous bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean about these ideas. Like, you're holding on to 1,000-year-old traditions. Like, this is real. You know, even the Romans and people like that realized after a while that their mythology was probably bullshit, you know, and they got rid of it. And at some point, you would think that people would wake up and say, Aryan says, I'm from India. We don't hate, we love. Well, welcome. I don't know what's going on, why so many people in India and Pakistan have been watching this show lately, but I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. The internet says, this is the happiest Jew I've ever seen. Must have a Palestinian in the basement. That's actually funny. But, first of all, I'm not a Jew. I have to say this so many times. I said, my girlfriend made me this sign for you because I am not. I don't know what it is, like, y'all want me to be, or it's like, you need me to be. Oh, look at Z. Thanks for coming back, Z. He says, big noses, often referred to as prominent or strong nasal features, are a natural and diverse part of human anatomy influenced by genetics, evolution, and climate. Yes. Yes. Probably that little tiny bit of Neanderthal blood that's still left in us. That's like, might have something to do with it. I don't know. Blue Ball says, I fell in love with Christianity when I read how Jesus disciples. Well, yes, for sure. But the idealism in it is good. I'm not saying that there's nothing good about it. You know, like, there are good things about it. But if you look at the history of mankind, religions themselves right, tend to divide people and have caused more death, destruction, and murder than almost anything in this world. And to give people a false sense of security. That's what happened when they came to America. And then they said, look at them Native Americans, look at them savages, you know. We got to teach them how to be Christian, while at the same time they were kidnapping people from the other side of the world and bringing them here to work for them for free, you know. But these are Christians. Christianity is just a way to make yourself feel better about the horrible fucking shit you're doing. If you ask me. Yeah? Well, you know, a lot of people say that. You say that. I don't call myself a failure because I, unlike you, made my life what I wanted it to be. And there's lots of people that didn't achieve mainstream success at anything that they did. Do you know that Van Gogh didn't sell any paintings when he was alive? You know this, right? Basically a penniless artist. And nobody knew that he even existed. If you're a real artist, you just make art. You don't worry about, you know, how many people fucking... And it's always been external things that have stopped me from doing stuff. Like I said, whenever I get focused on what I'm doing, I'm pretty successful. I moved all the way out to the other side of the country. I made a life for myself out there, doing comedy, doing what I wanted to do. I don't call that a failure in any way. You can. I don't really give a fuck about your opinion in that regard. It's like, because when I die, I can say I did all of the things that I wanted to do. Can you say that? I don't think so. That's why people have midlife crises, because they wake up and they're like, "Oh my God, I never did anything." They freak out. Blue Apollo says they do that. It's so real. These are 1,000-year wars based on concepts from thousands of years ago. It does sound crazy because it is crazy. DK asks, Laura said, bring positivity into the world, please. And DK said, how do you propose we should do that, Laura? And it's a deep philosophical question, really. I mean, it really is, because in a world that's so negative and so many things are happening. Yes, exactly. Laura says, look in the mirror, and that's true. I was thinking about that today. It's like, small acts of kindness that really could change the world. Like Tolkien said in the book, it's all those things add up, create a positive energy. If people just change the way they treat each other, you didn't touch no nerve. I was just explaining to you how you calling me a failure doesn't bother me. Because it is. Now, list the things that you've done in my life. Yeah, right, Laura says, I've heard midlife crisis, and I'm not saying. DK says, a mirror doesn't exist in nature. No? You can look down to a stream or a water or something and look at your reflection. So you can't see yourself. Laura says, in water. Exactly. So you can. I think a lot of the world's problem is that is people. It's like the incels and the angry fucks. Like they blame everybody for their fucking troubles. Like immigrants and women are keeping me from getting laid, and and like, no, the truth is you're just a fucking jerk off, dude. There's a reason why people don't like you, because you're an asshole. But rather than look at that and look at themselves and try to change their own behavior, it's easier for them to just blame other people for all their fucking troubles. Right? I can't get a job because DEI is keeping me from... Say, no, maybe you weren't qualified. DK says you would only see a distorted face of yourself. That's true. That's true, but your perception of yourself is probably distorted. That's my point. People aren't usually very honest with themselves. Most of the time, people like Z, who are, slightly bitter. Now, I don't dislike Z, but he comes on here and he trolls and whatever. He mildly lashes out. It gives me the feeling that he's probably not happy, in his general life. And that reflects in his attitude, because, and unlike you, like I said, I'm happy. I've done, even that I had to give up the life that I had created for myself to come home and take care of my mother, like I said. It's part of your responsibility of being a decent human being and a good family member to your family. I'm not even bitter about that. It's something that had to happen. And in the long run, Blue Apollo says smoking DMT and stop all psychedelics made me know myself better than I ever thought I could. What do you mean by stop all psychedelics, though? Psychedelics made me know myself better. Mushrooms, acid. You ask yourself questions that you wouldn't ask, if you didn't open up your third eye, a little bit. I never smoked the DMT. So I don't know what that's like. But I have done lots of psychedelics. That's what I was just getting ready to say, Julia. We were talking about it the other night. Like I said, if I hadn't had to come home, I would have never met Laura, probably. Yes, DMT is a psychedelic, Laura. Z says, no, I'm only breaking your ball a little. Well, that's good. That's good, because I said I don't wish bad on you. Like, I think that this internet and the way politics are now, and the way everybody is felt that they have to choose a side and that the other people are their enemies somehow, that's all a source of why this world is falling apart. We have lost our humanity. We lost touch with our souls, and our connections to each other. And technology has only severed these connections even more and made them more artificial and plastic. And I think that is a big problem with the human beings today, because human beings' psyches are not meant to be solitary, lone creatures. No, that's not true, Laura. Laura says, I'm the lucky one in this deal. But see, no, that's not true. That's why I'm the lucky one, because you would say something like that. You're one of the best human beings I've ever met in my entire life. When I'm with you, I feel happy. And I'm sorry this turned into it. Inferno says, thoughts on Jews. What thoughts on Jews? They're just like anybody else. I'm not a groiper, Blue Apollo, you lying sack of shit. It's like, you're the groiper. Blue Apollo is the resident groiper. I'm not a groiper. I asked him to stick around when he came because I wanted to learn more about the groipers. I don't know that much about them. But I think that it's the same thing. Like these groups, like the groipers and the incels or whatever, they all banded together because they were lonely. Mart says, true, but I don't think that we changed fundamentally. The internet just exposed who we really are. You think so? I mean, it definitely exasperates the worst sides of humanity. But I don't believe that the internet has definitely made things more polarized, made people retreat into their echo chambers where they only talk to people that think like them, and that's not how you grow as a human being. Sir Roman says, do a Bart Simpson impersonation. Most people say I sound like Krusty the Clown more than Bart. He just, what does that mean, Inferno? By Jewish design. Not everybody that works on computers is a Jew. That's like, although there's a lot of them. But when you start thinking, it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's Altman. There's Zuckerberg. That's like, well, wait a second. Yes, Mickey. Get that chicken raw. Blue Apollo says, we have definitely changed. I was in the last generation of biking to my friend's house. Yes. I say this on this show a lot. I was born in one of the most interesting spots that you could be born in this time period, because when I was born, there was none of this. There were computers, but it was as big as a car. You know what I mean? It's like the computer was on War Games. You know what I mean? Like big giant truck-sized supercomputer that didn't really even do that much. And I said, then there was still landline telephones. There was no cell phones. That when I was born, it went pager, cell phone, right? Then Commodore 64. Then primitive Windows, and then because if you got a Commodore 64, which I did, it was all DOS. People, the average person couldn't use a computer until Windows was. That's why Windows made billions and billions and billions of dollars, because it took DOS and turned it into something that people could use to operate a computer system. You didn't have to know anything about it whatsoever. So the average person could use a computer now. And then, like I said, they went to cell phones and then to smartphones. And then now they said, you got a computer in your pocket that's more powerful than the Commodore 64 ever was. Tiny. And it's moving and moving and moving faster and faster and faster. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but yes, it is crap. I wish I could read your name. We'll just call you One, because The rest of it is like Russian or Ukrainian or something. But one says Windows is crap. Yes, I agree. But you understand what I'm saying is the average person couldn't use DOS. Like when I got a Commodore 64, I had no idea. Thank you, Radio Master. He says, interaction with the public is good. Upcoming YouTubers like you deserve love, respect, and growth. Love from India. Thank you very much. And like I said, if you just stumbled on the show, please subscribe to the channel, like the channel. If you like this show, please tell your friends, share it with your friends. I've been here for an hour, but I might stay a little longer because there's a few of you here. And I'm not doing a show on Saturday because I'm going to West Virginia to do stand-up. But to my failed comedian career, to see things. I'm gonna go tell some jokes and make money. It's like, of course, I'm a failure. It's like, Tan says you're a wizard, Harry. Sarcastic scoundrel says, "What do you call a cheap circumcision? A ripoff." Mark says, we didn't change in terms of being tribal and dividing ourselves into subgroups based on race, politics, religion, etc. Yes. Well, the problem is this. People have always been like that. But yeah, social media and all these things have made it easier for people to section themselves off even more and isolate themselves farther from the people that they don't understand, which creates even more misunderstanding, which is why you still have people that think, that Muslims want a Sharia law and, all this stuff. Yes, Lauren, hotel sex. We're going to have hotel sex. It's going to be great. I'm down for it. Blue Apollo says, I thought I was tech savvy until I had audio issues with my PC and Discord. It had me feeling like a boomer. Yes. Same as what you were saying or somebody was saying. We're like, the only thing I don't like about this microphone or the show is the microphone. It's like, yeah, the sound could be better. It's like, but say, I can't figure out how to fucking fuck with it and make it better. Which is frustrating because I used to be a live audio engineer. I'm pretty good at it. But I don't know how to operate all this stuff to get the signal coming out to where I can hear it so I can start fucking with it. It's like, because I'm not tech savvy. C says liberal bullies. Critics argue that while the term liberal implies tolerance and pluralism, some activists enforce unequal standards or intolerant of quasi-conservative or moderate viewpoints. I'm not intolerant of any of that. What I'm intolerant of is mass deportation and all this Nazi shit. Trump and the Trumpism is not traditional conservatism in any way. It's racist fucking nationalism. Period. That's what it is. And if you haven't caught on yet, it's quite militant. Because they got military everywhere. It's Trump's favorite toy is to use the military, the National Guard, the ICE people to scare people and intimidate people, and then they kill people in the streets. But you get those people in every group. That's what I'm saying is they're fanatics. And I'm not a fanatic like that. I'm not like, oh, you got to think of everything like I think about it or else I can't talk to you. I hate you. She says, oy vey. See, again, not a Jew. It's a Semyon. Hey, Buzz, what's up? Blue Power says, they just want it more than we do, though why do you think they are on the streets and we aren't? What is that supposed to mean, Blue Power? You don't remember Charlottesville? January 6th? You guys been on the street. It's not like you haven't. Simeon says they do it all for the schmeckles. Again, not you. You got a big J on your thing. Your name is Simeon, but somehow you got a big J on the thing and you're accusing me of that. Big J for Super Jew. I don't know why it's so important to some people to that I have to be Jewish. Yeah, well, city burned here too. You know what? Guess what? It's for the same reason. Oppression. That's what I mean. It's a microcosm of everything. You can only apply so much pressure to a group of people before eventually it starts to boil and the pot whistles like a steamer or something. All that energy got to go somewhere. And rather than change the system, we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and people just get pissed off. See, unlike France or somewhere where if you burn down your city, you think you get some changes. But when they burned down the city here, they did get some changes. They got some agreements from the police that they wouldn't shoot so many people, and they did. They kind of stuck to it. Somebody was trying to talk about that. These racists earlier. They were talking about Cincinnati. Is like, well, they seem to forget. Like, I said, oh, there was a police shooting and then there was a riot. I was like, no, it was actually the 14th police shooting that year. Proletariat says agrees in communism. See, that's a problem with communism too. Is that no one's ever really practiced communism the way it's written. It always becomes a dictatorship with some fucking dumbass like Trump who just takes control of the system and uses it to enrich himself and his friends and corrupt everybody. And this guy was asking me about Russia. Alexei says, you look like a smart man. What do you think about Russia? I wonder why you guys put up with Vladimir Putin, to tell you the truth. Yes, Jesus, Lord, I look incredibly Jewish, but I'm not. It's like, still not. Jeffrey Piper says, can I stroke my nose against yours? Eskimo kiss? Everyone that comes on here says that. Julia says, for all the newbies thinking Bruce is a Jew, he isn't, but I am. She's a resident Jew. Julia. All Jewish questions go to Julia Creator. Yeah, but see, the right, you can't say the right is the same way. Like the mega's fracturing right now because what they want is a homogenous thing where everybody just goes along. And that's not the way anything is. There's various scales of opinion on all sides. There is no it says now you're Jewish. No, I told you my mom's Irish. The fuck? See, Alexei says I think Putin is a fucking psycho. He is. He is. What I'm saying is, why do you tolerate him? To let him just pushing people off the balcony and polonium poisoning people everywhere, invading countries and killing people, bombing civilian targets. It's like, come on, man. Samuel's like, free Mangione. I said I think that Mangione should do what Hitler did with his trial, personally, which is turn it into a vehicle to talk about insurance companies and how they kill people. Now, he's not going to get off of his charges. But if he really killed that guy for that point, he should make his entire defense argument that, yes, I did it, but this is why. And then make his lawyer fucking put all the statistics out there about how they fuck people over, these insurance companies, and expose it. He's going to go to prison one way or the other. He might as well do something positive with the time. Which is to try to turn public opinion against the fucking insurance companies. Because deep down, he's right. His point. But murder is not a way to go about it, like. But that's what happens. That's what we were just talking about before. That's what happens when you put enough pressure on people. Your hard-earned taxes buy me crack, says my wife's boyfriend is so mean to me sometimes. He punched me in the face. He abuses me. But like I said, I think that he's not going to get away with it. There's too much evidence against him. So he should take his trial and make it meaningful. Because, like I said, he has a valid point that needs to be taught. Yeah, I'm obviously never going to convince you of the truth, which is that I'm not a Jew. So whatever. It's like, it's not going to happen. And that's why I want to finish my thought with somebody earlier, and then I got to get out of here. The guy earlier was true when he said, you can't just focus on this your whole life. It will make you crazy. It'll drive you crazy. But you got to balance your life. You can't check out completely, or these evil fucks will take over the world. Like, if you're a good person, you got to find a way that you got to speak up and get in. Yes, Julia, it is true. So they're beating a dead horse. Beating the dead Jewish horse. Self-hating Jews. See that, and that's hilarious. It's like, it's not true at all. It's the same thing as when you point out all the horrible things that white Europeans have done to other people, and people go, "Oh, will you hate yourself? You're white." It's like, no. It's like, I'm just a person that lives in truth and facts, and I don't want to live in a state where I'm lying to myself all the time, because that's what I need to uphold my fragile ego. It's like, the truth is, it doesn't matter what fucking color you are. That's just a construct that you made up in your mind. To make yourself feel better or more superior to someone else. The truth is, we're all fucking human beings. You cut yourself open, we all bleed red. We all want the same shit deep down inside. There's more in common we have with each other than the differences. But that's the problem with the modern society. So we've chosen to focus on these differences instead of what makes us more alike. Instead of trying to get together, we're drifting farther apart. And these attitudes aren't helping. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I'm on 13 minutes over time. I'm trying to do Joe Rogan, do 3 fucking hours every week of 3 hours of, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, this is what Joe Rogan would be like. How many times you got to be wrong about shit before you just wake up one day and realize maybe you don't know that much about anything? Because almost everything you said has been fucking bullshit for a while now. It's true, Samian. We need to find out and get more in touch with our humanity. This world's going to fall apart right before our eyes. The 70s were fun. Yes. Most definitely. Made a lot of progress. Of course, it's all been, in the last 40 years, it's all been rolled back. For a minute there, it was a vision. It's like that line in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where he says, you could almost see the high water mark, and then you could see the crest where it rolled back. We didn't quite make it, although we made it a valiant effort to make the world a better place. Anyway, I got to get out of here. So, like I said before, I'm not going to be here on Saturday because I'm going to West Virginia to resume my failed stand-up comedy career. And if you like this show, like I said, you just stumbled on it today, please like the channel, subscribe to the channel. I need that. If you like this show, tell your friends. If you got social media, please share this show on your social media. Say, hey, I found this group. I personally believe that there's too much division, negativity. All these shows are made for that clickbait to pull your, get your rage going, and then you'll send them money. Like, I never asked for money. I'm not begging for money from you. I'm not trying to scam you. I just think that human beings need more opportunities to talk to each other more and we would realize, like I said, people come on here all the time, they want to hate me, but then when they leave, they usually don't, because they realize, all your stereotypes you got about most of the people that you don't know are wrong. The only way that you're going to find that out is by talking to these people. So, if you're afraid of immigrants, go find one. Sit down and talk with them. You'll figure out pretty quick that you got a lot more in common than you believe. It's like human beings are human beings, and we all have the same basic necessity needs. And, it's the same wants and desires as everybody else. Everybody wants to get laid every now and then, wants somebody to love them. That's like... And there's not enough love in this world, and that's why there's all these cold people who've been turned off, and like I said, their humanity has been switched off. Peter the Pig says, I love you, Dad. I love you too, man. I don't know how old you are, but how old do you think I am? Anyway, I got to get out of here. Like I said, if you're new to this show, I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. I'm usually very prompt and on time. And the show goes off, except for, like I said, when something happens. Like Saturday, I'm going to West Virginia to do stand-up comedy. So I won't be here on Saturday, but I'll be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it'll all start over. It's like 3 times a week. Like I said, if you haven't liked the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. I need that. I'm far closer to monetizing this channel than I ever thought I would ever be. And thank you for that, all you people. And like I said, if you like this show, somebody that's like us, that wants to participate in a discussion about the things that are going on in this world, please tell them about the show. Like I said, share it on your social media. Help me out. Like I said, I don't ask you for money. I don't beg you for... I do have a Patreon and a Substack, and you can give me money, but I'm not asking you to. And thank you guys. I love you guys, even the people that think I'm a Jew. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Like I said, I'll be back Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. Please subscribe to the channel and take care of yourselves. Good night.